and that will let you know who you need to go to and say, hey, we need to do this. Or, the guy with the pool, look, man, why don't you go up here and buy one of those, $20, bibs that go on the faucet, just to keep, if you got your hose and, I mean, that kind of stuff. Then you can buy them up here to do it best.
And have you seen, in your work with other municipal governments, have you seen sort of a grace period for the enforcement provision within the policy?
Well, the state's not giving any grace period on it, but because of the way that you go about doing it, you do have a little bit of a grace period, because you'll be working with this part of the town while the rest of it is trying to catch up.
So is it in your experience that if a problem is discovered, that there, so long as the property owners are working towards a solution, is that sort of this?
Yeah, that's basically,
grace period?
Yeah, you need to be working towards fixing it, getting it right. And I'm not gonna name them, but I have run into a industry that cleaned out, denied they were gonna do it. And as far as I know, to this day, they still haven't, because the town didn't have an ordinance. They didn't have an adoption of anything that put any teeth in it. And, I mean, you're kind of stuck without that.
We've got to move on.
Can I ask Sarah one quick question about it?
Mhm.
Sarah, I know that you've been working on this a while. Do you have an idea about how many businesses or schools who are not in compliance?
I don't know.
You do not, okay, so,
But that will be, I would have to actually go to each physical address and inspect.
gotcha.
But Fire Sprinkler has been sending us where they have been doing the backflow testing on some, so I know some of our businesses do have them.
Okay.
And I, with Rural Water, will be glad to help her on that, because I've been through it before.
Question is, do we wish to adopt this as an ordinance in our ordinances, or do we wish to adopt this as a procedure?
What's your recommendation, Tim or Sarah? Or both?
My thought is that you first adopt it as a policy. And then as you begin to enforce it and implement it, if you're not getting the results you want, you could ratchet up to an ordinance which may have some additional enforcement powers. But under the current, as a policy, I think you're safe to enforce it using civil fines, money fines. So if you don't bring it into compliance, you're gonna be fined. If you ratchet up to an ordinance in the future because you're not getting the kind of response that is required under the state policy, then I suspect you could then go to an ordinance with maybe more teeth.
I'm inclined to agree with that, and I think the solution is true. Can you draft this as a policy?
Yes, I mean, I've got it.
You
We've
have it.
encoded it as though it were gonna be an ordinance, but I can certainly revise so that the policy is adopted formally, because the state, that's what they're looking for. They don't want to just say, yeah, we'll get around to it when we get to it. They wanna have an official recognition by the governing body,
I understand.
you all, to adopt it as a policy, that they can then know that you're gonna start taking concrete actions with the help of folks like Tony and his resources. So, yeah, I certainly can. So, you wanna go with the policy, I'll just revise it to
I
reflect.
think that's, do we have a vote?
You just wanna have it ready for our meeting next week,
Well,
or
the council could adopt it as a policy.
as a whole,
That's all.
instead of coming through committee?
We do have a meeting next week.
Oh, yeah. Sure, you could do it that way, come out of committee as a recommendation, and we adopt it as a policy, or you can first and second it on a council meeting, it's whatever
It's
you.
whatever you wanna do, Bill.
We need to meet next week.
I don't think the substance of it would change any unless you all have specific concerns, and I can share this with you.
I don't have any specific.
But it was modeled after their model ordinance, which is what the state has already signed off on.
The only thing I have under section 803060F, we need to put a date in there.
What page is that, Sarah?
4, sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I've got that highlighted with mine in the draft.
Where is that, Sarah?
Page 4, it should be
Page 4, okay.
F, yeah.
Okay.
That's by date located in
Okay, so we wanna put this on our agenda for next week, Bill? That's okay with you, Ken? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bill.
No, I got it.
Okay.
I can see it all, but.
But as I understand it, though, maybe Sarah, it says all existing residential service connections shall be fitted with a residential dual check. And it's got the ASSE 1024 by a certain date at the meter box.
Yeah.
That, if I understood you all, that's what we already have.
Yes, most of your meters have dual checks in them, yes.
So but again, there may be some residential service connections by which date, or what date are you all thinking then? I mean, again, first you gotta discover which residential connections don't have it, and then they would be given a certain amount of time to remedy or fix it.
Haven't we just changed our meters?
Yes.
They're all new,
So do you want them compliant by the end of 2026, for example, or by the, I don't know, what's a reasonable period of time trying to do these kind of things?
So, when I did it for Rutland back in 2017, I kept thinking about the residents, all right? So I would, like, when I sent out the questionnaire, I'd give them a month to answer it and send it back, you know? And then I'd take a month to look them over, call the ones I needed to, set a time. So you don't want your customers to feel pushy about it, but you want them to know that they need to follow it. So I would think, since you just went through and changed all your meters out, that maybe by the end of the year. Sarah, what do you think?
We can try it.
what has not been changed? What meters have not been changed?
Residential.
Residential, maybe 1 or 2. I mean, most of them.
1231, I think 1231 is plenty, we gotta have a date certain.
Yeah, you need
And
to
then
have a
enforcement,
certain date.
I mean, should you enforce against one or two if they haven't done it by then, but that's plenty of time.
I would like the residents to feel comfortable with this. And if it's already in place, then there's a certain degree of comfort with that.
Okay. Is 1231 acceptable?
Yeah, but who puts those on the meters? Yeah, I thought I'm not doing it.
You talking about the
I won't be in
dual
compliance.
checks, they're built into the meters.
They're built into it.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we think 99% of this is already
Already done,
compliant.
yeah.
It's done.
But,
That's what I'm.
any other changes, Sarah, that were?
I don't think so.
At least they should be done. Okay, thank you. Joe, I think we should probably try to move on to the one that you're concerned about, which is murals.
Water my gun.
So may I move on to the murals? That would be, B, right, discussion and recommendation and mural guidelines. I looked up a lot of places, I liked this one particularly. And it's not that you would use all of this, but I liked very much what Martinsville said about the goal and the limitations that they put onto the murals. We do not have an arts council, so we need to defer to a Reimagine Chatham committee in this. But I'd like to draw your attention to the second page of this thing, that for certain criteria for murals. And one is that it must be painted on the side or rear walls of the building and not on the primary facade. Is that acceptable? As a guideline?
Makes sense to me.
We have some